Well, good evening and welcome to Super League Raw Weekly. We're back for more debate, fun and frolics. Good evening, Steph. Good evening, Greg.
Good evening.
Good evening indeed. They're all jumping on as we speak. Dawn Baker very quickly in. Oh, I thought Dawn would be hiding under a pillar after last week, but never mind, she's with us. I'm sure she'll be getting involved in the chat. Plenty as always to go through. But yes, you early subscribers, the ones who are in early this evening, you know what you need to do. As always, like every week, share, subscribe, comment, get people involved in Super League Raw. That's right. If you've on Facebook, well, press that share button now. Let all your mates know that you watch Super League Raw. They're probably Rugby League fans as well. Get them involved. It'd be great to have their company this evening. Right, where are we going to start first, gentlemen? I think there's only one place to start, and it's here. IMG. Is it time for transparency? Absolutely diabolical. £750,000 this has cost thus far. And I hear on the grapevine that the £450,000 of consultancy, you know, they sent people straight out of university to do that. They didn't even have the decency to send top people. Gentlemen, IMG, what's your thoughts on this one?
Well, I've always said that it's a case of Emperor's New Clothes. I think. I don't know. I think it's about time we started seeing more from them, I think. You're right there, Dave. Was that a sneeze?
Good evening. Carry on.
Good evening. Yeah, I think we now, and I don't know whether Steph agrees with this or not, but I think we need to start seeing more from them now. They seem to have spent a long time laying the platform for what they want to do or where they want to go. Now we need to know where that's heading, I think. Don't know what you think, Steph.
Yeah, it's, I mean, from a worldwide brand, you know, they're so well known. They do so many things, you know, over in America. I know they're heavily involved in the NFL stuff now as well. And I'd like to have seen more. From my point of view, obviously they brought the grading system in, which is fine. And that system is, you know, what everyone's bought into. But I think there's also disgruntlement between the Super League chairman as well. I'm hearing stuff on the grapevine that there's votes of no confidence in them potentially happening and things like that. So it'd be interesting because I think we're not privy to a lot of information. So we don't know what the Super League chairman are being told. We don't know what they've been told to keep quiet or things like that. But from a fan perspective, I think you're absolutely right. You know, they were promised to us on our judges on our results kind of situation, wasn't it? And so far, we've not really seen anything apart from sending Wigan and Warrington. I think they're involved in that, aren't they, with the NRL?
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
But I think,
but that's nothing to do with with IMG. That's to do with Wigan and Warrington and the links they've got to the NRL. Let's be abundantly clear on that.
We're not IMG kind of involved somewhere along the line with that. I don't know.
Well, not that I'm aware of, but But I mean, the interesting, like I say, I'm hearing it on good authority that, you know, they were right out of university, the consultants, and I know that some of the media teams around Rugby League were a little bit disgruntled having unqualified people telling them how to run the show.
Well, let's not be too unfair on students, Dave.
I'm not being. I know what you're saying. Hang on, mate. This. Look, we want our game to be huge, and I'm sorry. Yeah, no. People shouldn't be cutting the teeth on this project. They shouldn't be. You know, there's other things.
The annoying thing is that they've chosen students not because they might not have experience, but because they see it as cheap labour. That's what annoys
that's what I'm saying.
That's what annoys me.
Yeah, but equally, they can chaperone people who've got more experience. So, like Steph was saying, you know, these chief execs who, you know, these chief consultants who probably deal with like the NFL and people like that, they should have been the ones that had got involved. They were the ones that the Rugby Football League should have had in a service level agreement saying, look, these are we want your best people on this, or you're not having it. The best people come in. And yeah, the up and coming people in MIG, chaperone them. I've got no issue with that. But we want the very, very best. We want people who've been there, done it, and got the T-shirt. And with respect to students, mate, they haven't got that. People they haven't got that. So that's the thing. You know, if we want our sport to be the number one sport, it should be better. It should be a lot better.
Well, I agree with that 100%.
You know, and here's the thing. I'll say hello to the people in the chat. I'm on one. Here we go. Strap yourself in. I'm on one. But here's the thing, right? The NRL, Papua New Guinea now have been given a green light for a license in the NRL. We know the Perth Bears are coming in 2027, right? They're aiming to be a 20-team comp by 2030, right? Now, 750K, that's another team in Super League. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not being funny. I know what most fans would rather have. They'd rather have that 750k going towards Super League, another Super League team. I mean, please God, NRL buy it. Please God, because we're desperate for it. We really are. Because for me, if these figures are correct, and they've been reported by Martin Sadler in the League Express today, that's where I got it from. So Martin's a good source of information. Yeah. If these figures are true, for me, it's just another example that in these negotiations with IMG, Rugby Football League, it's job for the boys. You're not doing our sport any good. You need to sort yourselves out.
I think the thing is as well, I might be wrong in saying this, but my recollection of the deal was it wasn't going to cost us anything. And it was based purely on results-based performance that they would get. And then all of a sudden, these numbers have started coming out that we are actually paying stuff towards it and stuff. And I think that's probably the most disappointing, and I think this is where people are starting to get a bit disgruntled in that.
Yeah,
you're right. The Emperor's New Clothes, we've been sold something potentially that's not factually correct.
Do you know what? I'm not being funny. If there's one thing that I detest in life, it's lies. Hate it.
I don't believe you.
I love integrity. I love integrity. I like people with integrity. The bottom line is, this is a disgrace. It really, really is. It needs a massive improvement. At the start of the season, I think there was shades of it. There was, you got the feeling, something was happening. There was a bit of glitz and razzmatazz. But as the season's gone on, that has faded for me. And these figures, quite frankly, what I'm seeing, that 750k. Here's one. That's 750k. Here's another one for you, right? We've got 12 clubs in Super League, right? Quick maths. I mean, I'm not going to be a million miles off here. I'm going to say 50k. If they divvied that up 50k across the Super League teams, that's an extra member of staff on the media team. Because I know that very few of our teams have got a large media department. It's a skeleton.
I know that for a fact. Being
exactly,
involved in
mate.
media,
It's a skeleton crew. So that 50k could have got an extra head in each club, extra people on the ground promoting the game, all the social media, all that goes with it. And again, I think they'd have done a better job, quite frankly.
I think we've missed the trick, Mass, especially with IMG, because if you look on Netflix, there's quite a lot of sports documentaries now that are controlled by IMG. And one of the biggest ones, I know I make my NFL reference again, is the one on Netflix called Quarterback, where they followed quarterbacks in the NFL. And I've got friends now who never ever had any interest in NFL. And it's a bit like Drive to Survive with F1 as well.
Exactly.
No interest in it whatsoever. They've missed a golden opportunity. They've got Sam Burgess, who's come to Warrington from the NRL. Massive things, mate, with Russell Crowe. Why not have a documentary filming his journey from, starting his first coaching career and then even move it to Wigan the year after, move it to Saints the year after, and do a documentary on each club. But that's how you grow the sport, through them kind of portals, through having documentary series, because that's what gets people excited. And Sam Burgess, you saw the Sky coverage of him this weekend, which was phenomenal, when they got him mic'd up. Things like that are what engage people, get people interested, and that's what get people who have no interest in rugby league into rugby league.
You've hit the nail exactly on the head there, Steph. That's something, obviously, as a media person, I've been thinking for a long, long time that we need to do something like that, a fly on the wall documentary. The last leg with it's not the last leg, is it? Take His Legs with Adam Hills, where it showed him forming the Warrington PDRL team and going to Australia and winning the World Club Challenge there. That inaugural competition is an absolutely fantastic documentary. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. I showed that to some of my students a couple of years ago. Yeah. They loved it.
Yeah. Someone in the chat saying "Welcome to Wrexham," another example of it.
Exactly. So
get Wrexham,
right?
How many followers have Wrexham got now on social media because of that? And I know you've got big superstars, but how do you attract big superstars? You do Netflix documentaries because that's what everybody's doing at the moment.
Russell Crowe.
Exactly. You could, if you'd have done it on Lee last season, what a story that would have been. For a Netflix documentary.
Well, Carl on his comment, Carl, never mind IMG, it should be called OMG. Couldn't agree with you more. Phil, I've got to disagree with Phil Webster. Sorry, Phil. We didn't blame IMG for the international. We put that firmly on the feet of the Rugby Football League, quite frankly. We understand that has nothing to the IMG. But are you really saying that you've seen 750k's worth of IMG in Super League this year? I beg to differ, sir. But if you've got more intel, by all means, let us know. Good evening. Let's say a few good evenings before we move on from this absolute debacle. Good evening to Mark Smith, Kev Worrells with us, Ian Judson, Ryan Birch. We missed him on the final whistle. I thought he'd be there, but he wasn't. We've got Paul Bowman, we've got Fraser Howard in the chat, Billy Steed, Lee Partington. Good evening to you. Oh, yeah, Josh Binns is with us. Oh, they're all coming in. Marvellous to see you. Get your comments in the chat. Right, let's turn this now into a bit more positivity for a moment, shall we? And that positivity has got to be Origin 3. What a game. This is how the game should be played. Oh, yes, indeed. Very little play acting indeed. Just brutal sport. The sport that we love. Boys, I don't know about you, but I could watch that on repeat from now until Christmas.
I've watched it about 6 times myself. What a game.
Yeah.
What a game. That's how rugby league should be played. It was fantastic. We even had we had handbags. We had people running from the substitutes bench to get sin-binned when there is still a substitute. Oh,
should have been a red, that.
Should have been a red. Exactly. Should have been a red. I felt sorry for the guy who came on. He turned around and said, "You get off." What have I done? No, absolutely fantastic game.
Absolutely.
I don't I don't have an allegiance to State of Origin. I don't mind who wins, Queensland or New South Wales. And it was just brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. It was brutal that first 15 minutes.
Well, Dawn Kirby there, mate. Bish, bash, bosh. Couldn't agree with you more, Dawn. Outstanding stuff.
He played well, bish, bash, bosh.
He did. He was out. Oh, it was just glorious. It was just glorious. It was a game where, again, advert for the sport. Incredible advert for the sport. Just what we needed. 2-1 in the series. Well done to the Blues. It's been over 40 years, isn't it, since they've won the series in Queensland. Outstanding.
It is, yeah. But as Chris says in the chat there, how it should be played, how it should be reffed. Absolutely spot on. No.
Yeah.
Refereeing was absolutely spot on in the whole series, the whole State of Origin series. The refereeing has been absolutely spot on.
Yeah, absolutely. We all loved that. Right, let's move on. Let's move on. Where are we going next? Let's go to this one. I'll start with you on this one, Steph. Sam Tompkins, inspired or desperate? Would you say?
I think it is probably a bit of desperation. I think obviously losing those 3 players, what they had to discipline and get rid of, has left them with gaps. My concern is obviously, has he been training, first of all? Yeah, I know he's been coaching, but how fit is he? Based on he retired off a knee injury, how is that going to hold up? And also, it's what position you're going to play him, because you're going to displace Morg, who's had a fine season. He's not been, setting the world on fire that we expect him probably to do. He's been good, though. That could create a bit of, unrest in maybe an unsettled camp already. But I think it's a big risk for me, and how much of that to play will be another thing as well.
Well, Ian Judson saying desperate. I like Andy Bibby's comment. Andy said it's required. And do you know what? It's a good point. Is it required, Greg? Sorry.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it could be a very desperate situation that knowing Sam Tompkins might become an inspired one. But like you said, Sam Tompkins has been a let's say a decent player in his time. I just don't see the sense in it. Let's promote some good young players. There's, Catalan aren't going to get relegated. There's no relegation. They're not going to be in any trouble. I know they got to the grand final last year. They're probably not going to get to the grand final this year now. So let's start promoting some youngsters. I think it's strange rather than desperate or inspired. Out of the blue, a bit of a head scratcher. They must have been discussing this for a while. It's not just something that somebody's phoned him up and said, "Do you fancy a game on Sunday?" So they've obviously been discussing it for a little while.
Well, Neil Rennick said he might live to regret the decision. Fraser Howard saying he's been itching. Look, all sportsmen, we find retirement difficult.
Yeah, of course.
I think it was Dawn Baker who said in the chat there that he retired under doctor's order. His knee was done. You can't suddenly repair a knee. It's an odd one. It really is an odd one. But another player that is going to be leaving the Catalan Dragons is Mickey McAlorum off to Hull KR. That's been announced this week. That I think it's absolutely nail on certainty. Now, of course, Parcells gone. I would say Parcells leaving the club. If Parcell was going to stay in behind the back, he's good enough to bring on the likes of Leyland, who they brought in, who they're going to bring in next season, and to continue the rise of Jez Litton. I think this probably points to a Matt Parcell exit now at Craven Park. It's a real shame. He's been a great servant, and we wish Matt Parcell well. We have loved watching him over the years. Mickey McAlorum, let's not forget that Steve McNamara has come out many times and saying that he credits McAlorum with a sea change of approach at the Catalan Dragons in terms of professionalism. This could be an inspired move from Willie Peters in terms of bringing somebody with the experience and professionalism. Forget, people might love or hate McAlorum, but behind the scenes, word on the street, incredibly professional, great attitude, will help to develop the culture, and will give Leyland some really, really good pointers. For me, I'm liking this, Greg. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's a smart move, especially with Leyland. I think he'll be the steadying influence. I think he's a wind-up merchant, McAlorum. He knows how to get under the skin of the opposition, and he knows how to win penalties. And we don't like him because of that. Because if he was on our team, we'd love him. He's one of those players that is a wind-up merchant. Yeah, I think it's for a couple of seasons. I think it's a clever move. A very clever move, and we've seen what it's almost the same as bringing Sam Powell into Warrington. I think it's on a level that a lot of people question Sam Powell to Warrington, but I think Sam Powell has brought that another level of professionalism in with him, and I think this is the same sort of thing with McAlorum next season.
Steph, your thoughts? Mickey Mac, KR?
Yeah, no, I think Parcell is getting towards the end anyway. I think Jez Litton's been fantastic for the past season and a half. He's been brilliant, and like you mentioned there, I think Leyland, he's going to need that bit of experience and guiding, and it makes sense to bring in that experience from McAlorum and give that leadership of him to Leyland to get him to be the next level, and to take that pressure off Litton as well. So I think it's a great signing.
Yeah, Neil Rennick's there saying, he'll give Leyland a bit of needle, which probably lends itself.
That's what he does. He whines and he whines and he whines, and every team. I think every team needs a player like that. Every single team.
Well, hold the presses, ladies and gentlemen. This just in. Greg Roach, absolutely right. He's buying his Magic tickets this week for the East Stand Unreserved for Super League Raw drinks. If you're going to Magic and you haven't got your tickets yet, or if you have and you're in the East Stand, that is where Super League Raw is going to be. And gentlemen, I've done it. I've got our T-shirts. Here they are. They're ready. They're good to go. That's what we're going to be wearing. Me, Steph and Greg. They're the T-shirts. Super League Raw. That's what we'll be having. If any of our members want to buy one and support us, it will be at cost. We just want your support. If you fancy wearing a Super League Raw T-shirt, probably on the game, if you're there for the weekend, the day that your team isn't playing, we know you're going to want to wear your colours. Or you could wear the T-shirt while your team isn't playing and then put your top on for your team's game. But they agree what we're going to be wearing. We're going to be there. All of us are going to be there. We're going to be having beers aplenty in the community that is Super League Raw. Gentlemen, we're going to be looking pretty dapper. Super League Raw on tour.
You've got to be a double XL, Dave.
It'll be, don't you worry, sir. You just send me the sizes. I will take care of the rest. There is a tablecloth somewhere with your name on it. Anyway, happy days, right?
So nasty.
Happy days. Right, let's get into some more gossip and news. Let's go round the ground. We'll start with Warrington. Not be confirmed yet. NRL 360 broke the news this morning. John Bateman to Warrington. This probably in light of their centres problems. It's either going to be Curry maybe dropping back. It just gives him options if Bateman is to come in. I don't know if I'd want him for the long term, but actually as a short-term gap, he's still only 31, got plenty in his legs. More experience coming in, potentially here to the Warrington Wolves. Greg, and Ty, of course, as well. Roderick Ty signed until 2025. And Sam Burgess. As said right here, I've been saying this ever since Wayne Bennett was announced as the South Sydney Rabbitohs coach, that Burgess would stay for one more year and he's in talks to do it. Those are the three big news stories coming out of Warrington. Greg, what are your thoughts?
Delighted that Sam's thinking of staying on with us. Delighted that Roderick Ty, his defence on Friday night was phenomenal. When I watched the game first off, I wondered why Roderick Ty had been chosen over Holroyd, I must admit. And then I watched it back and I thought, wow, I get it now. His defence and his organisation of people around him was awesome. John Bateman, yes. For the end, for the run into the to playoffs, let's not get ahead of ourselves. We're all guilty of that. We have issues in the second row. We have issues with centres. Although I believe Toby King might well be fit for Friday.
He's going to be touch and go. Is what we're hearing for Toby King. I don't think he'll risk him. I think, especially with Stefan Ratchford now out for 8 weeks. On that, Greg, I said on Final Whistle, even put it in the WhatsApp group. Downers, mate. I said on the WhatsApp group, is it time for Ratchford to retire? Is this 102 manner?
I think so. Yeah. If I might have to retire if this hay fever carries on, I tell you. Yeah, I'm getting all emotional thinking about Ratch's face. I think going back to Bateman, I think this could be an inspired signing. I might not live long enough to see it, I must admit, for this pollen count. But yeah, John Bateman, I think, could be an inspired signing. Brings a lot of experience, NRL experience of grand finals and of, end of season playoffs. And as far as Ratch is concerned, I'm getting emotional again.
Right. I'll tell you what, Reg, you go and get yourself a drink of water because that's what
I've got to drink of water.
We'll have a big slurp of it. I'm going to go to Mr. Steph Sale. Steph, this is a really good point from Andy Bibb. He's on fire tonight, giving Richie Marshall a big pat on the back. Marshall was there last year when Sheridan was there. It makes you wonder. It really, really does. Because, with the exception of Burgess, pretty much Chambers was in the background. Marshall was there when Darryl Powell was there. So, Richie Marshall has clearly took control this year of the defensive side for Warrington. We know that Gleeson is taking the offensive side. Makes you wonder what was going on in the last 2 seasons. But, yeah, there's one thing for certain. And I think, we praised Burgess for the impact he's had on culture and the turning form. But, yeah, Richie Marshall's probably an unsung hero there at Warrington, isn't he?
100%. And I think, obviously, without being privy to how Darryl Powell coaches and manages his coaching staff, we don't know. We can only make assumptions based on performance. But Burgess has the aura to me of someone who delegates and trusts his people that he's got around him. And it's no coincidence that, Gleeson's shining as attacking coach and Marshall's shining in defence. I just... From what I'm seeing, everything's looking really positive in terms of the coaching structure and management and culture at Warrington at the moment, and that's being portrayed on the pitch. So that's at the end of the day, that's where you're going to be judged. And likewise, if it's not going so well, you'll be judged on that as well. But I do think Bateman is a good signing for Warrington. I think he could give you that little extra push that you maybe need to get you to a grand final. I think you're definitely in the conversation for it now. And it's funny with Ty, I think a lot of people at the beginning weren't so very sure on him and were a bit disappointed with the signing. I think he's come into his own these last few games, and it's good to see that's being recognised.
Well, Steve Cartley's there saying that Ty has been superb. I completely agree. Good evening to Joel Dahl-Green, of course, made his debut on the Final Whistle podcast last week. We had somebody asking what did we think of the Leeds performance. Go and listen to the Final Whistle podcast. We discussed all round 18 ties on that. We only go through them briefly on this show. This is a really good point from Phil Webster. I love a good bit of knowledge. Warrington could win and go third this week. That's an incredible thing to think about, but you're quite right indeed. Right, let's quickly, loads to talk about tonight. Breers to Saints. This looks nailed on. Surprised, obviously, he was supposed to be going to the Souths under Wayne Bennett. Decided not to do that. I think I get it. Homesick. His wife's homesick, and I understand that. I think from his coaching, development, I think this is a bit of a blow for him. I think under Bennett, I think it'd have been really, really good for Lee Breers. But he's made the decision. We know what impact he had on the Wigan Warriors, attack post the Adrian Lam era when Matty Peake came in. We know that he re-galvanised them. We saw what he did with Brisbane last year. Maybe not as good this year, but he had an immediate impact last year. We know Saints have been, the highest scorers, but with the changes at halfback that's going to be made next year, this could be a really astute signing for Saints. And dare I say it, Greg, more pressure on the shoulders of Wellens, because believe it or not, there's certain people that support the Red V that have greeted this news with Wellens out, Breers in.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest. I don't think he'll be an immediate swap. I don't think he'll be in there to. I don't think he'll be there to replace Wellens. I'd actually heard this a couple of weeks ago that his wife wasn't particularly 100% happy and wanted to come home. I don't think he'll come back to Warrington as long as the present kind of leadership group is there. So St Helens was the next obvious choice. He did a fantastic job at Wigan. What a great job he might have done in our coaching team now if we'd have persevered with him. But good luck to Lee. We got nothing but admiration for what he did for the Wire. I wish him all the best. It's in there that Wellens has an extension agreed, but I could possibly see Wellens not being there this time next year, if I'm being honest.
Well, then VTV said put it back in the drawer for the time being, is what those boys were saying over there.
He must have had a good think about going to Souths and working under that management team. And he's done really well at the Broncos. But, he's going to Saints, and good luck to him.
Well, Dawn would love him back at the Warriors. Look,
I'm sure Warriors would,
Oh, absolutely. And in closing on this, Steph, good signing this for Saints.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he was a really good coach before he left to the NRL, and hence why he got his position over there. Right. He will have picked up so much knowledge over there, and he's obviously going to come back stronger. It's a bit like when you go and play over there, you normally come back a better player. So we'll see what's confirmed. Nothing's done until it's done. How happy Wellens would be about that if he is coming as an understudy, because that's a very scary understudy to have, sat right behind you. I think a lot's going to rest on what happens in the next couple of weeks for Saints. Because it's unthinkable they've gone 4 games unbeaten. If they got 7 games unbeaten, 7 games losses, then there will be pitchforks.
I think if you beat Saints this weekend, I think Wellens could be in trouble this weekend if Lee beat Saints.
Well, that's what I just said. He went to 6, didn't he? If you lose 6 or 7, he's taking for granted the 5th. He's already in the box. That's incredible. We'll get to that when we get to predictions, Mr. Sale. You just hold your horses, son. You just hold your horses. Right. Finally, do you know what? I'm devastated. I'm absolutely devastated. Davy Litton out for the season at Hull FC. This lad, he wasn't given a chance early in the season under Tony Smith. He's come back in. He's just had a wow of a game against Wigan. It's such a shame for the lad. I'm gutted for Davy. Absolutely gutted for him.
Is it MCL or ACL?
It's an MCL.
MCL. That's not good.
Such a
shame for the lad.
Isn't it?
Yes, he's got great potential. But these days, it's not the career-ending injury that it was 10, 15 years ago. So players usually, I say usually, with Conor Wrench in mind, players usually come back as good, if not stronger, when they've had reconstruction on the ligaments in the knees and their ankles. So, hopefully good luck to him. And a speedy recovery. That's in for the season, probably into next season as well, I would have thought, with an MCL.
Yeah. Just in response to Gavin King, London are definitely down, mate. There's no doubt about that under licensing. Unless there's a sea change, they're definitely gone. But welcome to Super League Raw, Mr. King. With a name like that, you are certainly welcome on your throne. Right, okay. Let's get into the top performers from round number 18 as we discussed very briefly round number 18. Here they were. Here are your top performers from round number 18 of the Betfred Super League. Both scoring 2 this week were Liam Horn of the Castleford Tigers and Liam Marshall of the Wigan Warriors. The top assister was Jay Truman against the Warriors with a magnificent 3. The top meter maker was once more Matt Duffy of the Warrington Wolves with 197, whilst the top tackle buster was Lockie Miller with 14. The most clean breaks came from Tex Hoy and Jake Wardle, each got 3, whilst the most offloads came from Mark Percival and Harry Newman with 5. The top hard meter maker was the captain of the Wigan Warriors, Liam Farrell with 153, whilst the most tackles were made by Oliver Partington of Salford Red Devils with 49. The top goal kickers with 4 apiece were Jake Connor, Rowan Mills, Zach Hardacre and Jack Charles. These are your top performers from round number 18. Well, there you go, round number 18, and what a round it was. Saints going down 24-10 to the Wire. The Leopards absolutely hammering the Broncos 36-6. The Giants doing the Red Devils 16-8. Hull FC, woohoo, 24-22. 12, Robins 20, and the Tigers 24. The Catalan Dragons 18. Oh my word, they were unbelievable results. Right, let's start with the Huddersfield game. The last win for Huddersfield, I said it last week, was in against Salford, was in round 4 of the 2022 season. What a win for all of the Cowbell Army. Fantastic stuff. And Greg, Harry Rushton. Harry Rushton at loose forward, mate.
A revelation.
What a game.
Yeah, a revelation. I was really sorry they missed out on finalists this week because that was a great weekend of rugby league. A great weekend. And Rushton was, wow. Like I say, a revelation. I thought Huddersfield, clearly one of the best performances this season, if not the best performance of the season. I didn't give much chance against Salford, I must admit.
No. Well, Andy Bibby's on fire. I'm sorry, Andy, mate. Outstanding. If Carlsberg did rugby league weekend results, I mean, Mr. Sale would completely agree with that. Mr. Sale was sitting on the campsite getting that tan. Believe me, that doesn't wash off, ladies and gentlemen. And he was fully enjoying what was going on over the course of the weekend. But no, Rushton, absolutely outstanding. Steph, I'm going to come to you, to the Warrington Wolves Saints game. Saints, 7 games in a row they beat Warrington in Super League. Warrington brought that to an end, of course. They beat them in the Challenge Cup as well this season. Back-to-back wins against Saints. Is this an indication of Warrington getting better or Saints at this moment in time, not the Saints that we know? Or is it a combination of both?
I think it's a combination of the two. Saints are 100% suffering with injuries, but aren't all clubs, look at Wigan without Field and French, kind of thing. So, yes, you can use that as a factor, but you've also got to factor in that, when a team goes down to 12 men, you should be beating that team regardless who they are. And then to be at 11 men for another 10 minutes of that as well. So I think there's going to be a lot of soul searching at Saints, and probably a bad thing for us this weekend that we've got them, because I'm sure there'll be some very strong conversations going on there. But Warrington have been superb for the last 5-6 weeks. They've been really good ever since the Challenge Cup, really. I know they had a bit of a spell after it, but since then they've been fantastic. And bringing in Yates again, brilliant for Warrington. And even in the areas like you're saying, you're struggling, Reggie, in the centres and the second row. The people they're bringing in are stepping up, which is fantastic for Warrington.
Yeah, I mean, Greg, in terms of Warrington against Saints, Holroyd, one of those in dispatches. Holroyd,
magnificent for a young kid.
Yeah,
magnificent. I didn't realise Saints had injuries because Sky didn't mention it. Funny enough, we had 7 players out as well, and that didn't get mentioned either. But yeah, Holroyd, you've got to give raps, and Aaron Lindop, give raps, lad. That breakthrough by, was it George Williams? If it had just gone to his right and to his left, Lindop was in, and that it would have been fitting for Lindop to score, because I thought he was magnificent as well. John
Wilson saying that Luke Yates was outstanding on Dibber. He did a try-saving tackle, which is what he's about.
Put Bateman and Yates together. That's quite a formidable duo.
Well, Well, we'll. I mean, he's certainly, if it is happening. I mean, we expected his rumours are very, very strong. It's not been announced yet.
I think
Wigan game.
Register said they've had a conversation, which I think is code for he'll be here this time.
If the NRL 360 report that John Bateman is going to the Warrington Wolves, I assure you, ladies and gentlemen, John Bateman is going to the Warrington Wolves. They don't get things like that wrong. Right, okay. Noticed in the chat that Ryan Birch, a big fan of Luke Robinson, Greg, staying at Huddersfield. We spoke about this on Whistle. You'd have to say, you know, if he carries on galvanising the Cowbell Army like he's done this weekend, why not?
I'd give him the job. Strong rumours flying around that Rowan Smith's going to be announced.
Well, if that's true, yeah, that's not going down well though with the supporters. I think they would rather see.
I'd like to see Robbo given a chance.
I would.
That's how Huddersfield friends are calling him.
Yeah,
I think Robbo deserves a chance at least until the end of the season, because the performances these last few weeks have been a vast improvement as far as I've seen.
Yeah, I agree. Right, Leeds all KR. Let's move on. Let's move on to pace. Leeds all KR. KR now 4 in a row against the Rhinos. That's interesting, Steph. You know, like you talk about sea change. You know, Willie Peters, where KR currently are. 4 in a row against Leeds Rhinos. I mean, no wonder the Robins are flying high at this moment in time.
Yeah, but it just shows you that these teams, like okay, not so long ago, I think it was 2005, 2006, Hull KR came into Super League.
Yeah.
You know, they were a championship club for a long time with us, but it's interesting to see how clubs like Hull KR are now, you know, getting up there and consistently getting wins against what we'd class as the old top 4 sides. So no, it's great for Hull KR. You know, I'm a big fan of them. I was a big fan of them at the Challenge Cup final and the way they were there. So I've got a lot of time for Hull KR, and I think they're doing things the right way, both on and off the field. And the crowds where they're getting to now, selling out every week. I know they don't officially announce their attendances and stuff like that for some bizarre reason. But what they brought to the Conway Craven Street and the off-field things, it's great to see. And I'm all for clubs like OKR being strong teams in Super League.
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. And then back to Reggie Castleford. 3 games from 3. Go on, Mr. Lingard, lad. They've not done this since 2022. Rounds 15 to 17, they beat Toulouse, Catalan and Huddersfield. They've done a far better trilogy this time. Could they make it 4 from 4? We'll talk about that a little bit later on. But again, if Robbo's doing a great job at Huddersfield, Craig Lingard at Castleford, take a bow. Mellor in centre as well. Eliel Zakeem had another good game. Liam Horn. I mean, we should just go on. Go on, Greg. Fill your boots. Be a Tiger.
Do you know what? They brought some players in, Tex Hoy included, your favourite player, Dave. And
I'm wrong.
No. You weren't wrong when he was at Hull.
I wasn't.
He wasn't wrong when he was at Hull. He's had a new lease of life at Castleford. The shackles are off. They're obviously playing to his strengths. They brought some young kids in and people raised eyebrows. And I think it's absolutely fantastic. You know, I think, you know, we were there a couple of seasons ago with Warrington right down at the bottom. It's a horrible feeling. And I made up for the Castleford fans. I made up for Castleford. I think, yeah, brilliant. Some great performances over the last 3 weeks. Yeah, okay. They may be still going to be a Super League team next season. They probably are going to be. So that kind of pressure isn't on them. But, you know, I think Lingard's done a great job. Some very astute signings. And putting players in positions that we wouldn't expect, maybe, perhaps. I think it's working well for him at the minute.
Indeed it is. And it's only right and appropriate, gentlemen, that we give the final word to Hull FC. Sensational. Oh, yes. If Super League is alive and well, this proved it. Outstanding stuff. To a man. Take a bow. All those black and whites. Oh, where do you start with this one? Incredible. Let's start with Jack Walker. What a player. Steph, what a player.
Yeah, he's. We've mentioned him quite a few times this year in terms of how well he's played, and especially with is it Lytton?
Lytton.
Yeah, he had a great game, and I think he went off injured, didn't he, with the suspected HIA, and then came back on again in this game. Did he get man of the match?
Who's that, mate?
Walker.
Walker got man of the match, yeah.
Yeah, he had a fantastic game. But no, it's great to say. And I think a bit like Lingard, what Grix has done there. I think both of these two teams at the beginning of the season, we feared the worst in terms of, are they going to get 4 wins? Never mind where they, getting up to now in terms of Castleford as well. So I think these coaches that have come in on interim coaching basis have done a fantastic job for these teams.
Well, Dawn Kirkby saying there in the chat, I've got to disagree with you, Dawn. The bucket hat was famous. I mean, he was almost like Bez, and I'll tell you now, Lingard had a happy Monday. Don't you worry about that. With that said, with his headphones on, he looked like the mascot out of the Gorillas. You know what I mean? It's the music that we choose, gentlemen. It's the music that we choose. Greg,
I thought he looked like a Cyberman with. That was it.
Yeah. You
he certainly deleted Wigan, didn't he?
Yeah, that's outstanding. The Cyberman. You know what we need to do is change the photo to monochrome.
delete.
Well, I'll tell you what, Matty Peter would love to delete that particular performance. But yeah, I mean, Hull FC, tip your hat to him. And again, Grixie, mate. Grixie. What a great effort Grixie's done there at FC.
Well, it's a culture. It's a culture change. It's that I know they brought a few players in and got rid of a few players as well, but that's down to and you've got to give Myler a bit of credit as well in terms of the players they brought in to help out. So. Go on, what you
it's Ian, I love you, I do. So, you go back 10 weeks and Jake Connor was man of steel. And all of a sudden, the last couple of weeks, he's coming in for pelters now. The king is dead, long live the king, as far as Ian Judson's concerned. Jack Walker, Logan Moy, they're all coming out for it. They're all coming out for it now. Ian's getting proper giddy. He's our Ian. I love it. I absolutely love it. Right, gents, that's our whistle-stop tour around number 18. If you want to listen to what we had to say in depth about all those games with the fans forum, make sure you listen to the Final Whistle podcast. No, we're not doing that just yet. We're doing that in a moment. That's the one that we're doing. Right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the official round 18 team of the week. There you can see them. And actually, do you know what? Not a bad one this week. Not a bad one at all. I've got no real arguments. I can understand why those players were picked this week. The only one that I'm a little bit, and I'm going to be hypercritical now, the only one that I'm a little bit confused about is Sam Holsall. Yes, he got an interception, but I think there was better centres.
Well, yeah, Roderick Ty for one.
There was better centres, I'm afraid, than Sam this weekend. I'm sorry to say that. That one was a little bit confusing. I think Tom Amon, as good as he was for the stint that he played, again,
came off after 50 minutes.
Correct. Bit odd that one. But like I say, they're the only two that I felt were a bit harsh. That's not to say that the rest are in my team of the week. Oh, no. Ladies and gentlemen, should we have a look at who our team of the week is for round number 18?
Go on, then.
Let's do it. Here we go. The Super League Raw team of the week is proudly sponsored by the Good Estate Agent. Join the Rugby League community in trusting Stefan and his team when you are buying, letting, or selling property.
It's the Super League Raw Team of the Week for round number 18 with the Good Stage of 2024. Here we go again, and a fullback is the man who had the prawn cocktail to mastermind the win over the World Cup champions, Mr. Jack Walker. If Wigan were the fish and chips, well, Jack, he was the salt and vinegar, as he was all over him from minute 1 at 2. And now with 19 tries this season is Liam Marshall, the Wigan winger, who was one of the few Warriors who maintained their high standards. Just 5 tries off his 24-try haul of 2023. He's a shoo-in for the Dream Team. And in centre is Matt Ikevala of the Catalan Dragons, who produced a solid game, also in defeat at Headingley. Just as the rotation of the earth makes my day, so too does watching a quality centre keep battling to the end when the walls are crashing down around you. Well done, Matty. At 4 is Ricky Latelli of the Lee Leopards. Another exceptional performance from Latelli that in some way resemble Beaumont's Lamborghini. Lovely kinetic design, luxury, rugby league skills and acceleration that makes the body shudder. Who'd have thought? I used to be a car salesman. At 5 is Ryan Hall, who got the Robins firing to defeat his former and future employers. Hall is everything Davy Foster is not. He's aggressive, hard-working, you could even say titanium. If ever you wanted to see the difference between brick and plasterboard, well, There you go. At 6 was Jake Truman, who produced assists and match-winning tackles to ensure the black and whites could take their baby out on Saturday night. Now, I believe in miracles, and a miracle happened on Saturday night with Truman in the pocket. It just had to be the black and whites. At 7 was the sensational Lachlan Lamb, back to his 2023 form versus the Broncos. Just as once everybody had a price for Ted DiBiase, the $1 million man, Lamb has his price, and someone is going to have to pay, as Lachlan Lamb is sure to get his way. At 8 is a man who Paul Hollywood could only dream of producing. No soggy bottom here, folks, as Jai Whitbread is made from the finest ingredients. There were handshakes galore at full time for the big front rower who changed the game and destroyed the Leeds resistance. At 9, well, the Dragons got the horn on Sunday, and that was the sweet sound and sight of the great Liam Horn having the game of the season thus far. It was like watching the Pied Piper strutting and blowing, with each and every Tiger doing their best rat impression following him to victory way. At 10 is Robbie Mulhern of the Lee Leopards. Oh, and Monet was good, but Robbie for us played longer minutes and once again showed how vitally important he's going to be to the Leopards in their fight for the playoffs this season. At 11 is a man whose performance looked and felt far better than his haircuts. Adam Holroyd, a young player who is trusted by Sam Burgess and produced the goods with a brilliant try and brutal defence. Reminds us of a young John Bateman, it has to be said. At 12 is Leroy Cudjoe, who, like the bad Leroy Brown in Crocodile Dundee 2, has a reputation to protect, and that reputation just continues to rise. In 2024, it's time for Ken David to hire the best portrait artist, as this man's image should be hung proudly in the foyer of the Dragons in tribute to the great man. Masterpiece. And finally at 13 is Harry Rushton of the Giants. Asiata, Minchella and Co could have been selected, but in a week where Lou Yates packed his bags, many were asking, could he be replaced at the Giants? Harry said, my time is now, and the Cowbell Army may have a new hero to revere. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your team of the week for round number 18.
So there you go, the team of the week for round number 18. Oh, they're all loving it. They're all absolutely loving it. The Ted DiBiase piece there, the $1 million man, had to come in. The Paul Hollywood one went down very well. I saw Reggie chuckling away at Jack Walker. Oh, yes, it was all good stuff in there. Don't worry about that. But there is the team. Look, these are always down to, opinions. There was a lot of great performances this weekend. I see the point that Phil Webster's made in the chat over Mikey Lewis. You're right. Mikey was very, very good, especially in the second half in that game. But Lamb, for me, across the game, he just had his paw prints all over that Lee Leopards win. He really did. That was nice, wasn't it? It was nice. That was nice. He's very sweet. But he did. He did. I thought Lamb looked very reminiscent of last year. Steph, you said it's amazing what he can do with a pack in front of him. Yeah,
I think the big thing for Lachlan Lamb is having Asiata back. It just frees him up so much, and I can't say we can begrudge Lamb being in this team of the week after the performance he had on Friday night.
Absolutely. Greg Roach, as always, loves a Super League Raw team of the week. He loved the haircuts. He loved the bread. Yes, I did used to be a car salesman back in the day. I know what kinetic design means. Go and look it up, sir, is what I would say. But no, some really, really good performances. Good to see Cudjoe in there as well. Another guy who just defies all logic in terms of his consistency, even at his grand old age, in rugby league terms. Anyway.
Yeah. I wouldn't have argued with Matt Duffy at fullback, to be honest. His game was probably hampered by the fact that we went down to 12 men and then 11 at a certain point in the game. But no arguments. I thought Matt Duffy was extraordinary on Friday night. I thought he was superb.
It was a beautiful try, sir. Beautiful. Yeah. What I would say,
I think if, and I don't want to speak out of turn, but if Matt Duffy doesn't get Man of Steel, I want to see who does this season, because he's been absolutely outstanding, Matt Duffy.
Well, he's number one dream team. He has to be.
He's got to be nailed on dream team, but
has to be.
I think he has to be Man of Steel, Matt Duffy. If he's not, I'd like to see who's been better than him this season.
Completely agree with you, mate. Completely and utterly agree with you. A big congratulations to Neil Rennox, of course, winning the Super League Raw quiz. He's going to be with the Super League Raw family in the East Stand. Oh, the ticket is there. Don't you worry about that, Neil. All sorted, my friend. Just waiting for the L ticket to come to me, and then it will come to you in a chuckle brother kind of way. It's on its way to you, my friend. Don't you worry about that. But a really good quiz last week, and Neil Rennox got the win. Many congratulations to him. Right, okay. Phil Webster saying Sneed. I don't think, for me, Sneed is not Man Steel. He's dropping off now, really dropping off. He was fantastic, don't get me wrong, but I think he's too high in some of these. I mean, it is what it is. He's pretty much got Salford where they are, and he's been man of the match in all of them games, and this is where the scoring system throws it out. But for me, I think we're going to see probably now Salford not have it their own way in the back end of the season. And I don't see Mark Sneed as Man of Steel. I mean, Greg mentioned there, Dufty, you know, you've got the likes of SA at Hull. I mean, people say, look at where they are in the league. Doesn't matter. SA this year for Hull FC, as if you're going to say what qualities a Man of Steel should have, I mean, that man, I mean, many of people doing the rack, especially a prop forward, and not put the body on the line for a team like Hull FC. Right the way through their darkest days and darkest hours, Herman SA has been a bulldozer for him, putting them in great positions. Unfortunately, in those positions, they haven't been able to execute. So I'm with Reggie. I think there's a few players, some not necessarily in the higher size as well, that in their individual positions this year have been outstanding.
Yeah, and you know we've always got the Jack Wellsby is the best fullback in Super League mantra from Sky that could swing it his way.
It will, well, saying that, we talked about Reggie and all the other stuff. I mean, look, the Man of Steel now is behind closed doors. Can't be seen. Of course it is. You know. It is. Yeah, anyway, we'll leave that one there. Right, outstanding stuff. We're getting very, very close to it. Getting very close to it indeed. We're going to look forward now to round number 19 in Super League. Let me tell you, there's some absolute belters here. But if you forgive us, we are going to go and recharge our glasses. And while we do that, I'm asking once again for your support. We really need the memberships to grow. We really, really do. The last thing I want to do next year is put this behind closed doors. I don't want to do that. I want to be able to keep doing it on YouTube and on Facebook on a Tuesday live. I don't want to make it just for members. Please, 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 even if it's the entry membership, everything contributes. You know, these things take time, guys, and you're sitting there now watching it. Come on, show the love. This is how you can become a member. Here it comes.
Are inviting you to become part of the fastest growing online community in Rugby League. Your contribution will enable us to continue to improve our current programmes and allow us to develop more so that you can enjoy Rugby League 7 days a week. Our 3 membership tiers provide everyone with an opportunity to create new friendships and experiences with like-minded Rugby League enthusiasts. 18th man membership. You will be supporting the work we do and contribute to our ongoing development. You will be entered into every prize draw as well as our monthly online quizzes. You will also have the opportunity of winning a season ticket by entering a team into the Super League Raw Mini Fantasy League. And you will also get a car window sticker to show that you're a part of this community. 6 again members. You will have increased entries into our prize draws and fantasy leagues. You will have increased shout-outs during Super League Raw every single week. You will have access to the Super League Raw WhatsApp group where you can talk with other members every single day. You will have 1 week advanced screening of our latest In Conversation With, and you will also have 3 invitations to the Final Whistle podcast recordings where you can have your say on the week's action. You will also be invited to a pre-game drink with Greg and I before your team's Warrington Wolves game at the Halliwell Jones. Team Talk membership. You get the maximum 3 entries into our prize draws and into our fantasy league. You will also have the opportunity to submit your question to the latest In Conversation guest, and you will be invited to every Final Whistle podcast where you will become a star of the show alongside the Super League Raw team. Memberships start from as little as £2.99 per month, so why not substitute a latte for 7 days of rugby league analysis and entertainment? Don't hesitate. Visit Patreon now and become a part of the fastest growing universal rugby league community online.
So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That's how you do it. And just to put this into context, by the end of the season, we will have given out over £1,000 worth of prizes. That cost me, folks. And believe it or not, I'm not a millionaire. So I really, really do need your help and your support. But yeah, not bad, not bad. Once the season ticket has been bought, probably for Ryan Birch, who's really doing well in the Fantasy League. Like I say, we'll be over £1,000 by the end of the season. So do please support us. Right, we come to that part of the show now where we look ahead to round number 19. We just had a belter 18. And let me tell you, some real juicy fixtures on the way. This is going to become the prediction show. So let's give a quick nod to our sponsor. And then we'll crack on with all of the predictions for round number 19.
Love that crunch.
Let me add a little bit of spice.
So there you go, round number 19. Look at these little beauties. Oh, yes. Luke Robinson's Huddersfield Giants go up against the Rhinos. Oh, this is a big game, you feel, for Brad Arthur. You really do feel that. I thought there was improvement slightly last week, but this is a big game all of a sudden. The Warriors taking on the Warrington Wolves. What a game that is sure to be first against second. Then the Robins take on the Broncos in the shoe-in of the round. I think there's no question there. The Robins will be too good for the Broncos, but we'll have a quick chat about it anyway. The Leopards go up against the Saints. Oh, another mouth-watering game. Oh, yes, that's right. Outstanding stuff there at the LSVs, guaranteed this weekend. The Red Devils go up against the Tigers. That also should be a good game, considering how well the Castleford Tigers are playing at the moment. And are we seeing a wobble at the Red Devils? More than likely. And the Dragons bring the curtain down on Hull FC. Hull FC will go into that game with loads of confidence, having, of course, done the World Club Champions. Right, gentlemen, we're going to start with that Huddersfield Giants league. This takes place, of course, on Thursday night. There's the history since 98. No surprises. The Leeds Rhinos, the golden era. Right. It is what it is, isn't it? But the last five, it's 3-2 in favour of the Leeds Rhinos. That big win for Huddersfield, they needed that. But 2 losses on the spin there for the Leeds Rhinos. 9th against 7th, very close. Look at the attacks, very, very similar. 330 in attack for Huddersfield, 3-2-1 for the Leeds Rhinos. And again, only the best part of just shy of 60 points difference in defence. Evens the Huddersfield Giants, but 10-11 on are the Leeds Rhinos. The last 5 at the John Smiths, here it comes. Huddersfield 3, Leeds 1, and a draw. Oh, the last time Leeds played at John Smiths was in round 24 of the 2019 season. That's how long it was. 44 points to 0. Round 8 at Headingley, of course, this year was a win for the Giants, 30 points to 24. Leeds led 12-2, if you remember, at half-time, and Huddersfield came flying back. Huddersfield, Thomas Deakin returns to the squad after his HIA, with Connor Carr named in the squad, replacing Ollie Wilson, who will unfortunately miss the remainder of the season. That's a big blow for the Giants. Leeds Rhinos have lost David Fossatuer, Mr. Plasterboard himself. They'll be very, very pleased to have the brick Ryan Hall back next year. I'm sure another injury for Mr. Fossatuer. Oh, were we surprised? Absolutely not. Mikael Gudemon is still ruled out with a shoulder injury, and Justin Sangari is also out as well. So, yeah, I mean, before we talk about the game, Fossatuer, talk about coming over for an holiday. I mean, even when it's the risk of being Tech Soy all over again, Mark, too. Even when he's playing, he's looking like he wants to be taken off at any given moment. He just doesn't look interesting to me.
I don't get him. He's a big guy. He's fast. He should be ripping it up, and he's not. And there's something wrong, whether it's his head, whether he's homesick, whether he's just not into it, whether he doesn't like the weather. I don't know what it is, but, you're a professional rugby league player. You're a professional sportsman. You play to your best abilities. So I don't know. I don't want to be too disrespectful to him because he's a big guy and he might track me down. But he's
I'm not being personal. I'm judging him on his performances, mate.
He's not fulfilled his potential at all. At the beginning of the season, we were waxing lyrical about him, thinking this is a great signing. This is, he's going to rip it up. Man of Steel, dream team, and he's not done it.
No,
he's just not done it.
It's one of those, as a fan of a club, is what you'd class as a nightmare signing, because he'll be on good money, he'll be taking up a quota space, and he's someone that you've brought in to excite the fans, and he's not delivered on any of those for the money he's been paid, and for the quota space he's taking up, which are at a premium. So, I think, I don't know what contract he's on, but you'd think he probably won't be there next season.
Well, the squads are in. You can see them there. I thought Connor looked a bit more like it. It has to be said at the weekend. He looked a little bit better. I thought English back from Castleford, he looked the part as well. It is pretty much as you were really for both of the sides going into this one. Greg, I'll start with you. What's your thoughts?
This is a really tough one to predict. I thought Leeds were rent free in my head. I thought Leeds were good in patches at the weekend. I thought the Giants were really, really good. Greg Roach is begging me to predict Giants being hammered by Leeds. And I think, do you know what, Greg, Mr. Roach? I think you're going to beat them 1-8. I really do. I think Leeds' confidence is an all-time low. I think Giants' confidence is on the rise. And I think 1-8, and as Paul says in the chat there, could very, very well be a golden point. But I think I'm going Giants 1-8 because I think Leeds' confidence is at rock bottom at the minute.
Well, I'm sorry, Greg, but that was Mr. Nixon's best Frankie Rally impression. No point in begging him. He wasn't going there. Steph, over to you. Your thoughts? I actually think this will be a really close game.
1-8 Giants.
Yeah.
It's not very often the bookies are wrong, and they've got this pretty much bang on evens, haven't they? I bet you on the handicap it's probably -2 to Huddersfield or something like that, isn't it? Something.
Yeah.
I agree. I think it's going to be a really, really close game. I think Leeds will be looking for a bounce back because I don't think they played badly against KR. So I think they'll be looking for. They'll be a bit disgruntled about that, and they'll be looking for a reaction, especially with the is it Brad Arthur, the new coach? He'll want to see a reaction to that. And likewise, Huddersfield come off a great win, so a lot of confidence. But they've got the curse of the John Smiths, haven't they? Which they've not the best home form, have they? I know they've had a win there now, but let's see what happens. But I'm throwing a few Hail Marys again this week, so which Mr. Roach will be overjoyed with. So I've gone Huddersfield 1-8.
Huddersfield 1-8. The fans' form have gone Huddersfield 1-8. Gary Schofield sees it even easier for Huddersfield. He's gone Huddersfield 9-17. Not had Joel's predictions. Joel, hope he's well. Not heard from him, but I'm sure he is. I'll catch up with him in the week. Let's get into the chat. Ian Judson's gone Leeds 1-8. Giants 1-8 by Lorraine. Neil Rennick's Giants by 6. Dawn Kirkby 1-8 Leeds. I mean, look, everybody, I'm just scanning it really quickly. It's all 1-8. It's all 1-8. It's only Schofield, really, is going by a big, big margin. Right. Where am I going? I'm going Leeds 1-8. I'm going Leeds 1-8. I am. I'm going Leeds 1-8. I think they can't afford to lose this. Leeds have got a really good chance, a really, really good chance. What's his up there? Just Alex Sharp. Just so you know, Greg, I'm running around my room naked, celebrating. He's gone to the Giants. Is that who's that? Is that
Alex Sharp?
What about Rowan Smith?
No, that would have been a win.
I'll go about your prediction. That's a sight to be old, Alex, isn't it?
Alex,
mate.
Points at Magic Weekend, mate.
Don't put that on the WhatsApp group.
Alex is coming in a mankini by the sound of it. But I'm going to go Leeds 1-8 for this one. I just think Leeds have to win this. Leeds have got a really good chance, more so than Lee. I'm going to say based on position where they currently are in the league. Leeds at this moment in time, if they can get their act together, looking at the games that they've got coming up, they could get themselves into the 6, possibly at the expense of Salford. If they don't win this, I think the message shifts to Lee in terms of the most likely to go into the top 6, if anybody that's not currently in there. So I think, this is a big moment for Brad Arthur. It's a big moment for those Leeds Rhinos players. For me, they have to win this, and that's why I'm going Leeds 1-8. But I do think it's going to be so so close. It's a knife edge. And you know what? That golden point that Greg talks about so often on Super League Raw Weekly, you could see it happening in
Could be.
game.
Could be.
It could be a nail biter. It really, really could. Speaking of a game, ladies and gentlemen, it's first against second at the BCS this weekend. Oh, yes. As the Wigan Warriors take on the Warrington Wolves. Look at that. 45-26 in the favour of the Wigan Warriors. Wigan are on a 7-game winning streak over the Warrington if you include the Challenge Cup final of 24 and the quarter final of 23. That's not good viewing if you're a Warrington Wolves fan. The last time that the Wire got a win against Wigan was as far back as 2021 Magic Round 10-6 at St James's Park. It's as you can see though, Wigan lost last week. Warrington on a 4-game winning streak at this moment in time in the league. First against second. Their attacks just 5 points in the favour of Wigan on 4-6-5. Defence again stronger for Wigan at 206 against to 200 the Wire, but that's a massive improvement from the Wire this season. 4-9 favourites. The Wigan Warriors 9-5. The Warrington Wolves. Field is back in training, but he's not expected to feature for the Wigan Warriors. Ratchford, of course, has been added to that long injury list for the Warrington Wolves. King probably a week too early. And we're going to start here because we haven't spoke about it earlier. Harrison picking up a 2-game ban on the Final Whistle podcast. We were 50-50 in terms of it being a red or a yellow. 2 games out now for James Harrison. Your thoughts, Greg? You're shaking your head.
Yeah, well, he'd have missed this week because he failed his HIA because Stevens hit him first with his head and knocked him out. It's as simple as that. And his shoulder hits him because he's going up because Stevens' head has hit him. It's not even a card, mate. When you watch it, and I know people are going to laugh at me for saying that, it's a head clash and he goes up because it's a head clash. His shoulder connects and he goes down and he's out cold. And I was speaking to somebody. I can't say names, but I was speaking to somebody who's close to the club at the St Helens club. Harrison's gum shield was triggered straight away. Noah Stevens' gum shield wasn't triggered. Harrison does the right thing and gets up. Noah Stevens is told to stay down, and that's what. And people might. Well, I don't care because you know what. We see a lot of people being told to stay down in rugby league these days to get a penalty or a setting off. And it's got to stop. And Harrison has been unfairly given a red card. He's been unfairly banned for 2 games, as far as I'm concerned. And I know people will say you're a Warrington fan, you've got primrose and blue specs on. That's what happened. What happened.
Well, you know me, I'm normally the voice of reason. And what I would say is I wasn't convinced it was a red. Yellow at worst for me.
It wasn't even a yellow because he's
interesting what you said about the gum shield. I didn't know that. That's good intel, mate. I like that. I like that a lot.
Before his shoulder comes up, I was told on good.
Like it, mate. That's knowledge. It's knowledge. I like it. I mean, look, there was a few things this weekend. I mean, you know, you're looking at other decisions that were made during the course of the weekend and decisions that weren't made. And look, we've always said it. We want the best players on the pitch. You know, we're big advocates of your point system, Greg. We're all advocates of that. Keep players. The persistent offenders eventually will get caught out, but these one-offs like a Jimmy Harrison like that, he gets some points and he lives to fight another day. There was one that was floating around. I don't know if it was on our feed. I think I saw it on Twitter where Paul Vaughan, Mark Percival, punches him on the floor. I think he misses, but there's a swinging arm there. Doesn't even get mentioned. If
you watch it carefully, not only does he punch him, he tries to stamp on him as well as he runs off like a coward. As Vaughan gets up and laughs at him.
Well, the other thing as well, Dupree got a yellow, and we know Dupree's got form.
Yeah,
doesn't even get cited by the match review panel. You know, and this is where again transparency. We all get a little bit. What's going on? You know, I mean, James Harrison hasn't really got form with the match review panel. Tyler Dupree.
The thing is, he misses this week anyway because he failed his HIA, so he's not playing this week anyway.
Oh.
But Percival should have got a ban. I think Duff and being fair, I think Dufty was lucky with the his little fracas with Matty Lees. I think he was very, very lucky. And then there's a straight headshot on Vaughan. I can't remember who that was.
The one for me, Greg. The one for me though was the Dupree one. He
Was that
absolutely
the
spared him. Well, he spared him.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry, but there was force in that. There was absolute force in that.
Well,
For
there's
me,
a high shot on Vaughan, and I think it was Curry, because I think Curry might have been acting captain. You hear the referee say, "No, it wasn't the same." Well, it's direct contact with the head. So why is it not the same?
anyway, we could talk about this until the cows come home.
This is a podcast in itself, I'm afraid.
It is. And unfortunately, we're not going there, sir. We've got enough milk in the fridge already. Right, Steph, we'll start with you. Wigan against Warrington. We'll come to Greg last on this one. Should be a belter. Should be an absolute belter, this. Warrington will want revenge from the Challenge Cup. Wigan, like I say, on a 7-game winning streak. Talk to us about it, Steph. Where are you going?
Yeah, I'll just do one sentence on the Harrison one. I think he's got to look at his tackling technique. That's what I would say about it. If you're going in like that and those kind of contacts happen, then potentially you are going to look at a yellow card. I think red was harsh. I think it was a yellow for me. But we've all got different opinions. So yeah. In terms of the game, I think it's going to be an absolute classic. I think obviously we know, a bit like we say about Saints don't lose that many in a row. Wigan definitely don't with the team they've got, and I'm sure Matty Pete will have had them doing. He'd have been beasting them this week in terms of not having that kind of performance again. As good as Hull FC were, and that's not taking anything away from Hull FC, they were outstanding. But Wigan weren't themselves, and you could say Hull made them play like that as well. But that performance was not a Wigan performance, and it's not their standards. And I do expect to see a reaction this week. That said, I think Warrington are the informed team in the comp with Castleford, ironically. But in terms of the standard of your top of the table thing, I think Warrington are outstanding at the minute. And I'm being led by a superb leader. And I'll go back to the mic'd up stuff with Sam Burgess. When he was putting his arm around Nicholson and saying, "I love you, go on, do it."
Yeah.
You know, even I was like, that's top class. From a, I played the game, and to have sort of coach put your arm around you when you know you've made a mistake, what an inspirational thing to do, and show how much you care about somebody. I just thought it was outstanding. And
Like when Sam Powell went on, he said, "Go and win it for me."
For me, yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. It's class. That's why it should be a Netflix documentary. Exactly. That's gold. It's absolute good. It's what people buy into. Anyway, I'll get off my soapbox on that one. It's going to be a great game. It's going to be a really good game. I think the factor for me in this one is Field and French aren't playing, and Wigan are a top side with those two players. With those two players, they're unbeatable for me, pretty much. So I've actually gone another Hail Mary. I'm going Wire 9-17.
It's a big shout, Greg. I said in the sheds that I'm not convinced Miskey and Kieran. Last year the balance across the back line for Wigan was really good against Hull FC. There was a lot of fragility on that side. The Sutcliffe try, the Walker try. I think Warrington have got to probably edge the bets more that way, if I'm being honest with you. Would you agree with that? And what's your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, I would. But we're depleted in the centres as well. So, that kind of evens it up. I think Field and French gone. I think Eckersley has been absolutely superb. I think Jack Farrimond is a star of the future. I really do. Yeah, he is. Yeah, and going back to you saying about Harrison's tackling, he's 6'6", and he was tackling a 6-foot player. And I know he's got to get lower, but anyway, we'll have a row about that at a later date. I think for this one, I think that performance by Warrington on Friday night, down to 11, 12 men for 60 minutes, down to 11, I think that has taken a lot out of the tank. I really do. The injuries to Ratch, the suspension to Harrison, Yates is a massive addition. He's huge, Luke Yates. It is his defence. 6 isn't much. Maybe not to you, Callum, but it's to me. There's a podcast on that one as well. But I think
we're not going there. Carry on. Yellow card, Callum. Yellow card. Carry on, Greg.
Throw me out my stride there.
Off your stroke. Anyway, move on.
Too many beers celebrating that win on Saturday. That
I think I need to refresh my glass. But I think, and again, Wigan will be hurting. Getting back to the real world, Wigan will be stinging from that one. They didn't perform. It took a dubious yellow card for them to come back into it at the end. And I just hate to say this, but I think Wigan 9-17. And I hate to say that.
They're going to go to an 8-game winning streak, Ellie Reggie.
Yeah, I've been there too many times when we thought this is Wyre's time, and Wigan every time, because they've got it there, Wigan. They have it there.
It's going to be an interesting one.
17.
Going 9-17, Wigan, right? So we've heard from Steph. He's going the other way. Gary Schofield sees it Wigan 9-17. The fans form see it Wyre 1-8. I'm going to go Wyre 1-8. I think it could be close. I think this could be really close, especially when you consider who's not playing. I think it should be a really good battle and a close game. Don Kirby's gone Wyre 1-8. Mark Smith's gone Wigan 1-8. And again, Andy Robertson Wyre 1-8. Lever, I think that's Nicola. Is that Nicola Burtonwood? I'm trying to remember who Lever is. I think that's
Lever.
Lever, yeah. I'm sure.
That's not Nicola Burtonwood. Lever. I don't know who Lever is.
I'm not sure who that is. Let us know who that is. Put your name in the. Don't be shy. Neil Rennick's Warriors by 10. Peter Barley saying Wyre 1-8. Ryan Birch Warrington 9-17. He's gone big. Robert Hickson. Good evening, Rob. Wyre 1-8. So yeah, a lot of, like I say, it's a split. Couple of biggies. Nobody's going 18 plus either side. 1-8 seems to be a favourable result that most people are going for one way or the other. Right, we're going to get a bit of time back here because we're about to talk about the Robins taking on the London Broncos. 13-9 in history since 2007. 3-2 are the KR. Look at that there. 4 wins in the last 5 for KR. 5 losses on the spin for the London Broncos. 6 third against 12. Absolute gulf between these two teams in terms of scoring. 441 this season for the Robins, 182 for the Broncos. Defence, only 238 conceded by the Robins, 685 by London. They're not taking bets on OKR. That's always a bad sign. 16-1 is the London Broncos. The last 5 at Craven Park is 3-2 to KR. London last winning there in 2019, 20 points to 16. They've met twice already this season, both going the way of KR. 10 at Craven Park and 64-14 at the Cherry Red Record Stadium. That tells you that Hull KR, if Warrington were to beat Wigan close at the BCS this weekend, that if KR put a score like that on London, it's not beyond the realms of possibility that Hull KR could be sitting top of Super League by the time Steph chairs the Final Whistle podcast. No, actually, I'm moving this week. When we sit down and do the Final Whistle podcast this coming Sunday. KR have confirmed there'll be no Tyrone May in this game, but good news, Batchelor may return. That's good news for KR. We like James Batchelor, quality player. And Niall Evans as well, even though, Broadbent deputised really well at the weekend, it's got to be said, Evans this year is having a real quality season for the Robins. Greg, over to you.
18 plus KR.
Yeah, Steph.
I've just seen a shocking comment that Liam Moore is the ref for the Wigan Warrington game.
Shame it's not Aaron.
And I think you can guarantee that our other friend, Mr. Kendall, will be video ref.
Possibly.
No, he'll be reffing Lee Saints.
What's your prediction?
He's got to get Saints to win at some point in the season, hasn't he, mate?
Prediction for KR, Steph?
It's KR going to win 18 plus. It's going to. They've been away for a few games. KR.
They have been, yeah.
They're back to Craven Park. So, and I believe the weather's going to be good as well. So it should be, pretty open, expansive.
Not on Greg's forecast, but anyway, carry on.
But I know we're not going to talk a lot about things. What I will say is the Final Whistle. Apologies, I couldn't make it this week, but I listened to it on Monday, and the fans did brilliant. It was a really, really good show. So well,
they were excellent. Yeah.
Who I know me and Reggie weren't there, but you were really good. I really enjoyed it this Monday listening to it.
It was a really good to see Joe. Great debut from Joe. It was yeah. I mean, everybody, great contribution. You're spot on. Everybody in the chat are saying it. It's going to be Rovers by an absolute landslide. I don't think anybody. I'm just looking now, has gone less than 18. No, they've not. Thaler is the video ref, Wigan versus Wise, just to make you a bit happier. Stuart Minister's put that in the chat there.
And we've got Kendall, they say in the chat as well.
You must have.
Oh, have you? So who's
surprise.
Is it Aaron Moore? If it's Aaron Moore, I'll be delighted.
Aaron Moore for me. And do you know what? On that topic, we're a bit far out. But if there's any justice, Aaron Moore referees the grand final.
Oh,
yeah,
a million miles, because
he won't because of politics. Because in every business there's politics. It's going to be Moore or Kendall. Guaranteed. But Aaron Moore, on his performances, I think he's been the most consistent referee this season and has got more right than wrong. So let's start a petition now. Aaron Moore for the grand final.
Oh, it's Liam Moore Wigan game.
Rush referee in London very well.
He did.
I think Rush is a good referee, you know.
Yeah. You've got young up and coming ref. He's been quite impressive.
Yeah, unbelievable. You're hearing it, folks. Super League Raw weekly, and suddenly we're getting all the banners out for the referees. Isn't that refreshing? Refreshing indeed. Right, let's get into this little beauty. It's going to be the Lee Leopards against the Saints. I'm personally really looking forward to this. Talk about narrative. Outstanding. The resurgent Lee Leopards going for the top 6. The Saints, can they go 5 defeats in a row? Oh, get your buckets ready now. Deary me. Oh, Saints fans, the tears that they'll be caught in those buckets. I mean, you feel... Oh, dearie me, you could fill troughs for horses. There'll be that much tears in those buckets, ladies and gentlemen, if Saints were to go 5 losses from 5. But as you can see, the last 5 occasions that these two have met, it's 4-1 to the Saints. But it's Lee who come into this game in better form. It's 8th against 4th. The attack to 326 for the Leopards, 451. Saints have been really decent in attack, even in defeat, it has to be said. The Lee Leopards, 272 with a game less played, 210 for the Saints. They're still seeing Saints as favourite 8-11. The Leopards 6-5. But let's not forget, last year in this very fixture, Saints were leading 12-0 at the Lee Sports Village, and the Lee Leopards came back to win 20 points to 12. Who can forget Shorrocks scoring that try at the end to seal the win?
It was a great game.
It was an incredible game. Of course, Edwin Pape back from suspension, adding a bit of bite into the front row. Also back will be Penne and Matty Moylan. So the troops are back. As for Saints, George Delaney, doubtful. They're going to make a judgment on him right at the death. Still no Whitley or Knowles. They could be back the week after for FC. Wormsley's ahead of schedule. He should be ready for the Salford game. But, of course, it's been announced that Conrad Hurrell, that's him done probably now at the Saints. He's gone for the season. And Sione Matautia, there is still no immediate return for him. He's indefinite, Paul Wellens has said. I mean, Matautia, a real loss for them. He's been playing some really good rugby for Saints this year. So, yeah, I mean, again, brilliant win last week. Greg, I'll come to you first. I'll come to Steph last because it's Lee. I said this on the final whistle, great opportunity for them to get the combinations back. You know, the fact that the pack was settled again, Lamb back in, Moylan, of course, will return this week. You know, I just felt that was a really good game, a settling game for Lee to go into this Saints game. And with those additions of Penne, Moylan, Annie Pape,
yeah,
do it.
Yes, they will. I have no doubt that Lee will win this game. Only joking. No, Saints. I keep saying that Saints will be stinging. Saints will be hurting. Saints. I think it was mentioned once on Friday that they've got some injuries.
You said that earlier.
Yeah, I think it did get mentioned. My memory was failing me before, but I think it did get mentioned that they got a couple of players out. Daz Clark is not firing on all cylinders. I think he may be carrying an injury. I think bringing back Pape will be a brilliant move for Saints. I think Lee will win this 9-17 because I think Saints' confidence is shot to pieces. They haven't got the enforcers up front. They haven't got big Alex Walmsley who can put holes in defence for other people to run through. They're not bringing him back on with 15 minutes to go when defences are tired, which is their, that's their modus operandi, which is posh and rugby union speak. But that's the way they work. Alex Walmsley smashes you for 15 minutes, goes off and comes back 15 minutes to go. And if they're struggling and puts holes in your defence, they haven't got that. Matty Lees has not been firing all cylinders either. Delaney out is a big miss. Dodd out. They put Dodd on the bench. I would have started Dodd against Warrington and put Wellesby back to fullback.
I think Wellesby will be fullback. I think Robertson will be out of this. I think.
Yeah. Sorry, no, not Robertson. James Tedesco. He was that good. According to Sky, he's the new James Tedesco after one game. But talk about building a player up after one game. I mean, the kid's going to be an absolute superstar, but please don't put that pressure on him after one game.
I agree.
Come on, guys, grow up. I think Dodd will start. I think Wellesby back at full back, but I think
Mbai's back as well, isn't he, for this one?
Yeah, well, he's not good enough, I'm afraid. Lee will win this 9-17.
Ooh, that's big artillery going your way there, Steph. Big artillery has to be said. Without
you said Mbai, didn't you?
Hey,
you said Mbai there, didn't you?
Mbai, yeah.
Yeah, not good enough.
Yeah, fair enough. DG, whoever that is on YouTube, is decided that the IMG are inept moronic goons. That's an interesting take on IMG.
That's a song by Manic Street Preachers.
Possibly is. Yeah, and if you tolerate this. Anyway, moving on. Going into the chat, we'll come to Steph in a moment. Robert Hickson's going Lee 9-17, as is Lorraine. She's going the same way. Doc Gerber, a lot of love for Mr. Salesman down here. Mark Smith's going the same way. Has anybody gone Saints? Saints 1-8. Ian Judson has gone their way. Nicola Burwood, hey, there's our Nick. She always when Lee has been talked about. 9-17 there. Peter Barley, Lee 9-7. Mate, a lot of love here for the Lee Leopards. Joe Dalgreen's gone Saints 1-8. Wow. Lot of love for your Lee Leopards. Can you do what you did last year again at the LSV, Steph?
We can. I think if you look at Lee's 1-17 for this game, it's probably going to be the strongest 1-17 we've named all season.
Yeah.
What I would say, while we're quoting Latin, is Equeo Pedro Prepara on the League Coat of Arms, which is move forward with caution. So that's
get you
for a minute. Then he sounded like Ronnie Barker out of Open All Hours for a minute.
I'll tell you what, my glass started floating.
Prepara, did you say there?
Prepara, yeah.
Carry on.
Making progress steadily, which is very apt for Lee at the moment, I would say.
It's not very apt for what you're saying here. Come on, get on with it.
But no, I think we've got our strongest 1-17 now. I think last week you were right in saying it was a great warm-up game for this one for us. Saints are bringing a really healthy crowd for this by all accounts. On their thing, I think they've sold nearly 1,000 tickets for this one, which is going to be great for the atmosphere at the LSV. I think it's going to be near a sellout, which is fantastic. Really looking forward to it until Reggie give his prediction then. But I'm like I said, I went with my Hail Marys last week. I'm going with another Hail Mary this week. Lee 1-8, Lee 18 plus.
18 plus, that's a big shout. That when that came through, I thought, oh, that's a big shout. Joel Dalgreen saying that one was wrote down since the start of the stream. Joe, believe it or not, he does a bit of prep. The boy, he does a bit of prep. He's been waiting for that one all right.
I didn't know he was going to quote Latin till then.
Yeah, outstanding. You know what I mean? I know he wasn't talking about your Latin. He was talking about your impression of Ronnie Barker, mate. Outstanding. Right. Absolutely outstanding. I'm going to go Lee 9-17. I think Lee will do him. I think Saints are devoid of confidence. I think the fact that they're chopping and changing in key positions, because they are, your spine is so important in rugby league. They've chopped, they've changed it. I think the fact that chopping and changing it is affecting the confidence, certainly of Dodd. I think Wellesby will play full back in this. I think he has to. I think they'll bring Dodd back in, or they'll play Mbai alongside Johnny Lomax. But I just think Asiata looked dangerous again at the weekend, and I think if Asiata can produce, and you know what, all I will say is, you know, if Saints go in numbers every time Asiata does a tackle, just get ready for it. It's just
the other factor with this game is there's been a lot of bad blood between these two fans and thingy. So the atmosphere at the LSV, like I was saying before, if it is close to a sellout, which I believe it is, it's going to be a cauldron, an absolute cauldron. And you know, like, I hope the Saints fans are taking my prediction with a bit of jest, because I am throwing Hail Marys to try and get up that prediction league. It could be an absolute classic, this one. It could be.
This could be game of the week, this, you know.
Can't wait. I cannot wait for this one. I think this is going to be a great, great game. Obviously, I'll be watching the Wire one, but yeah, it's Friday, this, isn't it? It is Friday.
The best games, I think, are the ones with, like, the Wigan Wire, Lee Saints.
It's Friday. Yeah, it's the KR game. KR game. So yeah, no, I mean, I'll be watching this straight after. You know, Sky will spoil it for me; they always do. But you know, at the end of the day, I'm sure it'll be a fascinating game. I am going to go Lee 90-17. Gary Schofield's gone the same. I mean, here's one for you. I mean, I've not got Joel's prediction yet, but the fans forum, all of us, Lee. I mean, that's and not just Lee 1-8, all 9-17 or higher. I mean, that's just unheard of. It's unheard of, you know. I mean, woof.
Well, that's Wellens' team talks written into it. Well, that's what I would throw caution to the wind with this, is that they're going to be looking for a performance, and especially if they are bringing 1,000 fans to Lee, they're going to want to turn up for them, aren't they? So, you know, I do think it's probably going to be a bit closer than my prediction, but I've got to chuck it out there to try and get up the league.
I'll tell you now. There's not many, probably with the exception, they've just played Wigan and Warrington. Possibly with the exception of maybe going to KR. This is the hardest fixture they could have had for me for the 5th in a row. You know, with the exception of maybe going to KR. They will not, you know, they're even Wellens in his press conference today, he looked nervy, and you know, it's going to be fascinating. Can't wait. Anyway, let's get to Saturday. Another fascinating game. Salford Red Devils against the Castleford Tigers. What a match this could be. I mean, you know, can Salford hold on? They didn't last year. Are they going to do it again this year and fall away? Castleford resurging. Can they go 4 from 4? Who'd have thought that? And especially this run of fixtures as well. Who would have thought that Castleford would have an opportunity of 4 from 4 going into this game? Nobody. Absolutely nobody. History's on Castleford's side. 4-1 in the favour of Salford, though, in the last 5 games between the two teams in Super League. Castleford come in better form. Interesting. 6th against 9. Look at the attack. Even though there's 3 places between them, the attack there, only 325 for the Salford Red Devils, 304 for Castleford. But it's the defence. But what we've seen in the last few weeks, and we've been talking about this, Castleford's defence has improved unbelievably. And that's what's giving them the opportunity of winning games. So, you know, stats don't tell the whole story. Yes, over the course of the whole 18 rounds, Casper's defence has been shocking, but these last 5 or 6 weeks, they've really tightened it up. Salford still favourite at 2-5. That's quite generous, I think, going into this. Castleford are 2-1. It's their 3rd meeting this year. Round 2 at Salford, 22-26 in favour of the Red Devils. Let's not forget, Castleford won 36-24 in round 7 at the Jungle against the Red Devils. Not since, like I say, round 15 to 17 and 22 have Castleford gone 3 from 3. They've got a chance now of 4 from 4. And Jaden Nikarima could make his debut, which will be quite interesting. Steph, go on. Salford, Cass.
Well, I think Joe Dalgreen's got it right in the comments. I think this potentially could be game of the week again. Another one that has got, you know, a classic potentially written all over it.
Yeah.
Cass have been fantastic, and against good teams as well. these last few weeks. I actually backed them to beat Catalan 1-8 and got it right last week. I'm going to go with them again at 1-8. I just think that they've got the form, and you might see a bit of a pattern here that the teams I need to lose for us to get in the playoffs are being backed by me. But also, I think other people might not go for them, so that's why I'm doing it. But I do. There is a bit of method in me madness in this one. I think 2-1 is quite long odds for the way the form's going, because you've got to look at recent history. Saying that, Salford will probably batter them 22-0 now, but no, I've got them. Casford 1-8.
I've got to tip me hat to Alex Sharp before I pass over to you, Greg. He said that Paul Wellens will play this to his team, just like Craig Lingard played it to Texoy when he went to Castleford. Thanks for your support, Alex. You're a gentleman, sir. Carry on, Greg. Salford against Cass.
Cass 9-17.
Wow.
You're throwing Hail Marys now.
Wow.
Throw them out there, mate.
That's a big shout. Robert Higson's going cast by Golden Point. We take that now. Neil Rennick's cast by 8. Kev Worrell, Salford 9-17. Peter Barley cast 1-9. Actually, he changed it to 1-8. He understood. He went a point too far there. He reined it in his second comment. Good lad. That's what we like to see. Ian Judson 9-17. Cass, he's going the same way. Any love for Salford in here? I don't think there is. There's no love for
Kev Worrell
9-17. And I agree with Kev. I'm going Salford. I think they'll rally back in this one. Gary Schofield sees it the same, 9-17 Salford. The fans forum have gone Salford as well, 1-8 in the Facebook fans forum. So that's an interesting one as well. Right, we tiptoe to the final game of the week. Catalan Dragons hosting Hull FC. Woo! Happy days. Go on, Hull FC. And look at the history. 20 apiece, incredible. Catalan Dragons 4-1 the last 5 times they've gone into. They've played each other, and of course Catalan go in with a defeat. Hull go in with a win. It's 5th against 11th. Attack 3-4-1 plays 2-5-2. Defense again key 2-5-8 for Catalan, 5-4-2 for Hull, but it has improved dramatically again versus the average for the season in the last few weeks or so. 2-13 the Dragons. 9-2 Hull FC. That's value for you, especially the way that Hull FC played last week. That is value for you. They could go into this with bags of confidence. When they met each other on the last day, they're going to meet each other again on the last day of the season. They played each other in game 1 at the Stag Gilbert Brutesse, and of course Catalan beat them 26 points to 12. All of a sudden, this isn't as easy to call as maybe it would have been last week. Greg, can Hull FC back up a win against the Wigan Warriors by going to Perpignan, which not many people do, and beat the Catalan Dragons?
No. In a word, that will have taken a lot out of them. A great win against Wigan and taking nothing away from them. Wigan only came back when Hull were down to 12 men in the last 10 minutes. I think that will have taken too much out of Hull. I really do. Cheers, Joe. You agree with me? And I think Catalan are going to win 1-8. And there's been a few comments, and I think it might well be Golden Point or a drop goal. I don't think Catalan will win by that much. I think Hull, their confidence will be high, but a win over Wigan takes it out of teams. It really does, because they're so intense and you have to concentrate so much, and you have to be aware of what's going on. They have got, the young kids, French and Field might be missing, but Wigan's young kids are going to rip into you. And I think it probably taken a little bit too much out of Hull. They've got some injuries which don't help. And I think Catalan 1-8, quite possibly a drop goal in 80 minutes or a Golden Point win.
Fair enough. Steph?
I think this could be another really, really good game.
Yeah, it's a great game.
Alex Sharp said everyone's forgetting that Catalan will have 2 referees on the pitch.
Who
are you talking about there?
Is Tompkins playing?
He could play, yeah.
It'd be interesting if he does. Their squad should be out now, shouldn't it? Is he in the squad?
No, that's not going to be Friday.
Oh, all Thursday, won't it?
Friday. Sorry, Saturday. Yeah, it'll be Thursday.
Yeah.
Right. Well, what I will say on this one is that this is a game we need Hull FC to win to beat Catalan as a League fan. And Super League Raw member, my brother Matthew Sale, will actually be in attendance in this game. He's actually in Carcassonne at the minute. I saw him on the things. I'm sure.
Yeah, he put a message on.
Yeah, live from Carcassonne. So he's actually taking his family to go and watch, go and take them to watch a rugby league game in the South France, which is fantastic. I think he's a good brother. But yeah, if any of the Hull FC fans are out there or see this, then make sure you buy him a beer. I'm sure he'll be cheering FC on in this one. So, I'm going with me needs musts. I'm going Hull FC 1-8.
1-8 for FC. Gary Schofield's gone Catalan 9-17. I'm going Catalan 9-17. Fans form are going the same. They're going Catalan 9-17. So just yourself at this moment in time, Steph, going the way of FC. But surprise, surprise, you're in good company. Guess where Ian Judson's going? Hull FC 9-17. There he goes. There he goes. He's really on a high as Ian at the moment. Deary me. Graham Parrish, good evening, Graham. Good to have your company. He's going FC by 8. John Costello's going Hull 1-8. Andrew Robertson. Oh, Andy, first time I've seen your name tonight in the chat. Good to have another Super League Raw member watching us. He's gone Hull 1-8 as well. Darren Wilson going Catalan 20+. Peter Barley Dragons 19+, being a bit further there. Nicola Burnwood, she's going Hull FC 1-8. So that's really interesting. Again, what's been wonderful about some of these predictions tonight is 50-50. It's so hard to call. It's another great round of Super League fare.
Remember, Dave, though, now we're getting to the stage where we need results. A lot of people will be wanting results, especially in them middle ones, to go the other way.
Oh, of course they will, yeah. But actually, on paper, mate, I mean, you look at those fixtures. I mean, there's, you couldn't pick a winner between the Giants and Rhinos. As we sit here now, predictions are predictions. That can go either way. Warriors, Wolves, either way. Robins will nailed on. Leopards, Saints, either way. Devils, Tigers, either way. And even though Dragons, you would suggest it being at home, they possibly favourite on that. Because of what FC did last week, it makes it an intriguing game. So with the exception of one game, Robins, Broncos, every one of those games could go either way.
I think what's made it really intriguing now is a lot of people have written off Huddersfield, Lee, and even Leeds to make the top 6. What they haven't factored in is that Huddersfield, FC, and Castleford have all started playing, and are taking points off some of the teams in the top 6.
Yeah.
So that's the thing now is whether this is just a blip or whether if that continues for the rest of the season, then it could get very interesting towards the end. But obviously that's dependent on Huddersfield, Leeds, and Lee all continuing to win as well. But let's see what happens. But one thing it has done, especially in the last round, it's really spiced things up a little bit.
Well, Ian Johnson is saying, don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, they're playing without pressure 100%. For the rest of the season. Couldn't agree with you more. You've also been playing without a rudder for the best part of 16 rounds as well, Ian. Let's not forget that as well, my friend.
Yeah, let's face it. That's what Leeds used to do to win the grand final. He only won 5 games at the end of the season, got into the top 6 and won it.
I love Ian. I just love
hello, my Leeds fans.
I've even got a black and white pen, Ian. I'm poking him. I'm just poking him. He's a good lad. Right, ladies and gentlemen, look, no time for questions there. Just need to have a quick chat with you about what's going to be going on over the next couple of weeks. Right, so we will not be live for the next 2 weeks. The reason being is myself and Greg are off on holiday. And we're not, what can we do? We've got families, ladies and gentlemen. What can we do? However, because we love you so much, we are going to pre-record 2 Super League Raw weeklies. They're going to be a bit different to normal. We won't spoil it for you, but there's going to be 2, a bit of a different feel to them. They will go out as usual at 8 p.m. on a Tuesday night. So we're going to pre-record them. So please do watch us. Have a chat amongst yourselves in the chat like you always do. The banter tonight, again, between you all has been absolutely superb. They will be coming out for you 8 p.m. Tuesday, next week, and the week after. The Super League Raw the Final Whistle podcast, that'll be done by me and Steph this week, and then Steph is going to host it for the next 2 weeks as well. So keep your eyes out for that. I'll make sure your invites come out for you. Join Steph for the Final Whistle. That will be uploaded as normal and will be live. So it'll be recorded live and put out the next day. So it will be a current podcast in that respect. They will be talking about the games that just happened the weekend before. Right, here's one. I've not run this by the lads yet. I'm hoping it's going to be acceptable. As you know, there is a certain Magic Weekend on the 17th of August. The Super League Raw merch is there yet again. The Super League Raw on tour t-shirt. Myself, Greg, and Steph and Mr. Scholes will be wearing that. If you want to buy one, then please just drop me a line and I'll get you that. I think the prices are around 15 quid, and that's cost. So I'm not making any money on them. It'll just be great for you to go and wear them to promote Super League Raw, because of course the more t-shirts that there are, then of course more people will watch us. So if you fancy buying yourself a Super League Raw t-shirt promoting, like I say, the back is really good because all the fixtures are on there and it's nice. And Greg, at the bottom, you might not be able to read it on there, but it does say, "Let the sport commence." Oh yes, a great great little quote there. So like I say, not live, but here's the one. The night before Magic, there's no Rugby League. So for 1 week only, Super League Raw Weekly, Magic Special, 24 hours before the big one itself. Friday night, 8 p.m, live Super League Raw Weekly on the 16th of August. That's when we're going to come back on that show. It's going to be a bumper one. We're going to look forward to Magic. We're going to look back at the previous round. We're going to announce who the coach of the month, the team of the month, and the player of the month were for the month of July. It's going to be a bit of a do. It's going to be a bit of a do. So that's what's coming. So like I say, we're going to keep you happy. We're going to keep these shows coming your way. But like I say, the next 2 weeks will not be live, but continue to support us, continue to watch it. And like I say, some really good stuff is going to be there as well. And what I would like the members to do is, if you drop me an email with questions, we haven't got time for questions tonight, but because we're doing 2 pre-records, pop some questions our way. We might slot a few of those in the show as well over the next for those 2 weeks. So give us a couple of questions and let us know. Steph,
I will be on the feed as well when we've done the pre-recorded shows. I will be on there if you want to put questions in there and whatever. We can start the banter that way.
Good man. And don't get me wrong, I probably will. Cyprus is 2 hours ahead, so when you're going live, it'll be about 10 o'clock at night. So I'll probably have a go.
Neil Rennox wants to know if we're topping and tailing, Dave.
We're not topping and tailing. We don't have to do that, me and Greg. We're cuddling, sir. Cuddling. In true Steve Martin and John Candy way, I'll let you decide who's John. But
yeah. I've got it in my own room.
Of course you have. But yeah, look, there you go. So look, even on holiday, we're still thinking about you guys. We're trying to get some content out. Like I said, halfway through the show, we need your support. We're giving money back. We're giving loads of prizes out. This text time, it does cost money. Do support us. Even if it's just an 18-man member, it doesn't matter. Any support you can give us, you do. There's 82 people watching this. We haven't got 82 members. So come on, throw the dog a bone. Really, any assistance you can give us, it will be gratefully appreciated. As always, Greg, Steph, loving your company. That's been another fantastic show. If you want to listen to us, if you want to listen to us again, you can download it as a podcast and listen to us again all week if you want, because that'll be available in the morning. But as always, we're going to go out with the top performers of Super League up to round number 18. Enjoy your Rugby League over the next couple of weeks. Obviously, I won't be able to speak to you live, neither will Greg. But Steph, thanks for sitting in for me, mate. Really appreciate that. Your support, as always, is absolutely, well, what can I say? Couldn't do it. Fantastic.
Nice.
Yeah, really nice. I'm getting emotional.
Nice.
I'm getting emotional. Naughty and nice. But anyway,
I got emotional before. It's all right. We're all
together. Right, here come the top performers. Enjoy your Rugby League, ladies and gentlemen. We will be back, like I say, for that Magic Special live on the 16th. Make sure you join us for that. That'll be a great show to have in preparation for Magic Weekend. Come and join us in the East Stand at Magic Weekend. And here come the top performers. Best wishes. Bye for now.
Here are your top performers after 18 rounds of the Betfred Super League. Still leading the try-scoring chart is Liam Marshall with 19, 2 more against Hull FC. The top try assister, holding on by a hair's breadth, is Mark Sneed of the Salford Red Devils with 18. Whilst the most metres made continues to be Matt Duffy of the Warrington Wolves, 3,405. The most tackleables go to Lockie Miller of the Leeds Rhinos with 144. Whilst the most clean breaks is once again Liam Marshall with 23. The most offloads have come from Herman SA with 40. Whilst the most hard meters made in Super League this season thus far is Mikola Jeletsky of the Leeds Rhinos with 1,890. His captain Cameron Smith has made the most tackles with 710. And still leading the goal-kicking charts is Mark Sneed of Salford with 57. These are the top performers after 18 rounds of the Betfred Super League.